Hi everyone, Derek with Sapling Budgeting here. I am 30 years old, hoping to take a fresh budget sapling that I've got here and grow it into a prosperous tree of financial freedom. So, this is a new channel inspired by many of you, both financial and budgeting channels that I've been watching here recently. I've been going through, I want to track my financial journey, set lofty goals for myself. Got a lot of plans for retirement and hopefully retiring early, having some more financial freedom than currently where I'm at now. So, just about me, as I said, I'm 30 years old. I have my fiance Jess and a puppy named Henry. So, just the three of us right now. Jess and I are set to get married here in August. So, we've got a lot of expenses coming up, which is kind of what led me down this path. So, we've got our expenses. I would always track my expenses more so just checking my account, seeing how much we had in the account, assuming from there that we had enough for the purchase that we were making, and assuming everything was all good. However, we've got a lot of expenses that once I started sitting down and really looking at, there's a lot for the wedding, and as I started to map out each single item, started to get a little bit of panic, a little nervous, just about the amount of expenses that really go into it, the vacation, the honeymoon that we're looking to do. So, really wanted to kind of collect myself, watch some videos on YouTube, browse posts on Reddit, really get inspired. To try to find something that could really help us focus on our goals, long term and short term, planning for the unexpected, planning just for more things that you really don't think of. And came across a Reddit post talking about YNAB. Wasn't really familiar with what YNAB was. Started reading more into the post, some of the comments. Realized you need a budget here, and just the amount of relief and financial freedom that it gave them, knowing where all of their money's being assigned to. So I figured I'd give it a shot. Started it at the end of January. Was using the free trial and knew within a couple weeks that this is exactly what I was looking for. And since then, it's helped tremendously in our planning. It's given me the relief, sort of say, knowing that we've got a lot of expenses coming up, but knowing too that with our incomes and where we set our money, that we should be able to allocate everything properly and not just have that anxiety of looking at your account, seeing that you've got enough and making the purchase, hoping that you've got enough for everything else that's involved outside of the wedding, normal groceries, bills, living expenses in general, some of the fun that we like to do. So it's helped us out tremendously. Like I said, I started in January. I'm using it right now more so as a tracker versus actual budgeting. Now, as you'll see as I go through, I've got goals and everything set up for just about every category and subcategory within, but I really want to more so just track for these couple months here, see where we're at, and then from there really start to hammer out some numbers and see where we can cut some costs, which will ultimately just help with our investments and our future, hopefully being able to retire at an earlier respectable age that we're looking for, be able to do what we want to do in life, have some kids along the way, be able to support them financially, and really just go from there. So, like I said, our goals, we want to reach that financial freedom, and with that too, it's a pretty lofty goal. So, for us to retire, ideally, we'd like to retire with $5 million in our account. So I know it's an insane number for me to think about right now, but with our investments, where we've started, where we're at, our current trends, we should be able, that is an attainable goal, while very lofty. Right now, I'll show you where we're at currently with our net worth. But hopefully over the next 30 years, like I said, I'm 30. I want to retire ideally by 65. If we can make it sooner, awesome. But right now 65 is the goal. So with that, I think we can do it. And that's what I just want to kind of map out this journey here that we do, taking our little sapling of our financial situation and expand it into that tree that we're really looking for. So with all that in mind here, let's take a look. Let me shrink myself down. And I'll take a look here at where we're kind of at. So I've got all of my categories. We've got our bills, living expenses, subscriptions, long-term expenses, fund spending, our giving, miscellaneous, wedding, vacations, investments, and income. I tried to keep it as simple and short as possible. I don't want too many to where it becomes overwhelming and we lose sight of the budgeting system as well as our goals in general. So just taking a look at the report, some of our spending. So with the tracking that we've been doing, I feel like our biggest opportunity in our categories, so you'll see the breakdown here, is our living expenses, our long-term expenses, and our fund spending. So that's really what I've been looking at here in our spending. But in terms of net worth here, so when I started in January, we're at almost 75,000, including what we've got in our checking accounts as well as our investments. And you can see gone up a little bit in February, but with the market turn, everything that's been going on, there's been a lot of downward pressure on the market. So not to be expected that it has gone back down, but just keeping our end goal in mind, and then seeing what we can do with our income, some of our expenses, and cutting it out. So it was in January where it was really enlightening. You can see the long-term expenses here where we were doing some home projects, and this is kind of when I was just looking at the account, realizing that we've got enough and we can spend it, not realizing or really planning in my head our long-term plan for the rest of the year and even further. So it was kind of after this moment with these home improvements that I really had to take a step back, realize everything that we've got, what's truly important to us, and where we need to start putting that money to attain the goals that we're really looking for. So it was here in January that all kind of set in. I since went back, so I started YNAB, I want to say late January. It's probably January 20, somewhere in January 20th, 24th, somewhere right around there. I went back, I put in all of our expenses for January, starting at January 1. Took a couple hours, but in terms of reporting and what it's allowing us to see for the whole year, I really wanted the full picture of the whole 2022 and kind of starting this journey as we go, and didn't want it to kind of start towards the end of January. So I went back, redid all of our expenses, entered those in, exported them from our accounts, assigned them to their respective categories, and then have continued on from there. So now these income, that's extremely inflated right now. We've got what I've included in my income is our paycheck, or my paychecks, what Jess will move over to our bills account to help pay for all of our fixed bills that we've got, as well as our tax return is in there, some bonuses from work and all that. So this is pretty inflated right now. Most of my income in terms of bonuses and salary, a majority of it comes through April. So I get a majority of what I make through the year through April. So it tapers off quite a bit from this number. We'll see it as we go month through month. I plan on doing videos of budgeting the income that we get through the year, putting it into our expenses, and then ultimately just tracking these. So getting into the budget itself in our categories. So I'm using the toolkit. I set up a lot of goals. I'm sure many of you who are watching and have watched YNAB or You Need a Budget videos, Nick True is incredible. Helped me tremendously. I watched almost all of his videos, went through setting up goals, all of the categories, kind of what's important, labeling them, watching other videos on the emojis, putting in the date that stuff's due, kind of putting it in order. So everything that's due the first of the month to more towards the end of the month, I kind of put it in order so that based on our paychecks that we're getting in, we can allocate the money to the respective area and not have to really worry about missing any payments. So with all this, you can see that we started the Age of Money. It's at 55 days. It jumped up tremendously after I entered in some of those items from earlier in January. So I don't know how accurate this is, and I've only been doing it just for not even 2 months now. So I'm not too sure how accurate these numbers are yet. I'm sure over time it'll really dial itself in. But just starting at the top here with credit cards, thankfully we don't have any credit card debt. I pay off the Capital One every month. This is the main card I use for most of our purchases. I've been looking at getting something else, another card, whether it's the Chase Freedom. Just kind of been looking at the rewards. We don't want too many credit cards, but we were looking at one to use for our bills in the joint account. And then for the Discover It, is just I only have one bill that was connected to that before I got my Capital One, so I've just left it on there to utilize the 2 payments. We've been paying them off in full month over month. I have automatic payments set up, but I still like to see it as 0 as often as possible. So once I start to see that balance creep up a little bit, I'll just pay it off. And that's been another massive benefit from using YNAB, is that while you're using your credit card, you're getting your points back and everything, but you allocate your expenses to the categories, which has been almost treating it like a debit card, which I think is awesome. So going into our bills here, we've got our mortgage, water, my phone, which I send to, I'm still on my parents' phone. It just makes sense financially for us with keeping as many people on the account, and I just started up an automatic transfer to her for the $40. Mortgage $14.25 every month. Water fluctuates a little bit. So what I did, and with my goals, was I pushed it to the far end as far as possible. So the highest I've ever seen our electric bill is like $225. I pushed it up to $250 just to be safe. With inflation and everything going on, I just wanted to put the max amount in there and then have it pull from that, and then essentially just refill up what our payment was the month prior. So like the utilities, I have it set up as the needed for spending every first of the month, and I put it for $150. I've seen it up to like $125 is the max before. In the summer when it's really hot out, we water the yard to keep everything fresh, and then just regular utilization throughout the summer. I've seen it get up into the higher 120s, so I just wanted to put it at 150. It was only 85.45 this month, so really just have to replenish the 85.45 that was pulled out, and then we'll do that with the electric too once we get that. I don't know how much that one's going to be this month. I should get the bill here in my inbox next couple days. So that's kind of what I've got for bills, and I'm just interested to see what you guys have too, how yours layout is compared to mine, anything that you would suggest doing differently on yours, as well as kind of what got you into budgeting in the first place. Like I said, for us, it was the wedding that we've got coming up, our vacations planned, along with all of our quick expenses that we were incurring here in the short term, and really being able to plan it out. So I'm just interested to see what kind of got you guys into YNAB as well. But moving on to our living expenses. So like I said, we're kind of just targeting and watching right now, not really doing too much pure budgeting, just kind of setting rough numbers. So we spend, it's not $250, and like I said, I always go high because I'd rather have it budgeted into our budget and pull away and without having to go over. I'd always rather it just be like this, and just replenish what we ended up spending rather than going over trying to pull from other accounts. There's a lot of extra work, I feel like, with that in the time that I've been doing it. So I set all of my goals rather higher and would rather just pull out the little bit than the full or go over. So you can see groceries, I've got it at $250. I can look more at our reports here too. Costco is usually around $300, and then I separated out Costco and Amazon from groceries or any fun spending, any other needs. I just wanted to see, again, another tip from Nick True, how much we're really spending at these places. So Amazon, even just looking back to January, you could see it was $274 when I first started, and it was pretty close to this the months before, back in 2021, before I really got into this and kind of saw where I was at and where we were spending that money. And then same with Costco. Costco, we buy a lot of our bulk groceries. We usually go every other month, which you can see we went in January, is right around $300. Didn't go in February, and then went again here a couple weeks ago, and it was at $272. It always seems to be right around $300. I don't know what it is with Costco, but that's kind of where we've been at with that one. So gas, I just put in $125. We've got to buy it. We've got to go to work. We've got to ultimately use our cars for transportation. We're not really in the best spot with where we live, where there's transportation readily or easily available to us. So we've got to drive around for the most part. Got Henry's needs in here. So he's a Cavapoo. He turned 1 back in November, so he's almost 1.5 now. He's our puppy. Took some convincing to get, but absolutely glad to have him. He's my first puppy that I've ever had. Never had a dog before, so it's been quite the journey, but I've been really liking it. And then I've got cash from the ATM, haircut, contacts, water softener. We've got not the best water. I've got some pretty sensitive skin, which you'll see more too in some of our long-term expenses. The medical has been higher in the past couple months. I've had some hives and allergies that I've been trying to get figured out. So that was also part of the reason why back in January had a lot of stuff hit us all at once. But got a water softener. Been helping out quite a bit. So moving into our subscriptions, I've really limited this down too. We've never been big on subscriptions. Costco, so we've got the $120 one, and I'll get more into why we've got that one later. It's because of we're looking at Costco travel, getting a percentage back from our vacation package that we're looking to do for our honeymoon. So with that, we usually always just have the $60 membership, but we do have the $120 this year. Odds are though, once we get to September and we've got our vacation booked, that we'll probably go back down just to the normal one. We've got Amazon Prime, our Netflix, which comes out the 15th of every month. I've got a weird thing with Netflix. I don't know if anybody else has ever had it too. So my Netflix pulls out, but then I have this ATM feed that's always connected to it. I don't know what that is. I've just noticed that recently. I was going to get with my bank to see exactly why I have that $250 instead of just the $13.99. So if anybody else has had that, if you could just let me know what you had to do to either get that waived. But it did post, and it's stayed there the entire time, which is I need to get on that. It's a good reminder. So, and then YNAB, obviously. So I used it started in January and then ran out. I thought it was $106. Turns out it was just almost $99. So got that $7 buffer, which is kind of moved in on with the $825 that I have to put in per month for the renewal next year. I've been absolutely loving it. I wish I would have started sooner. But car maintenance, I've got that at 20. So I said I like to go high. I feel like these two honestly might be a little low, maybe 3 for that matter. So in the long-term expenses, I've got our car maintenance. Jess has a 2016. I have a 2019 car. Not a lot of miles. I think hers has 45,000. I've got maybe 30, somewhere right around 30,000. So we don't have too much for maintenance. It's more for oil changes, tire rotations, anything like that. But I think I might need to. I think I might need to up that up a little bit. And then same with the home improvement. We've got a newer house, a couple of years old, so there's not too much in terms of improvements or maintenance. It's more decor that we're looking for. But with all these, I've got just monthly savings builder, just building that up. So when we do have something happen or we want to upgrade a certain area of the house, then we've got the funds to do so. Medical, 60. So it's usually like $30 for an office visit, and then $30 for the medication, roughly. So, and I figured if I go once a month, that'll kind of get me at the $60 again. That could be a little low. I went over in February as well as January, and that was because of the allergy issues that I've been having. I've been having to go quite a bit to the doctor. I got a new general practitioner, so just had some more costs up front, but I think this will start to mellow out as we figure out what's going on. And yeah, I think that'll go down here. So that one could be good. Passport, I actually just had to renew too. We've been looking for our honeymoon, so we were looking at Hawaii, looking at the Dominican Republic, but as we continue to look outside of the United States, realized that we need to get our passports updated. So I just sent mine in, hoping to get it back here in the next, hopefully, few weeks. I sent it off in February, and then just is something that I added on there. So I think I've got it expiring, 10 years from now. I figure cost will probably go up. It's about I think it cost me like $135. So in 10 years, I could see it being around 200. I guess we'll see. But just like I said, I always like to go above and just have extra, which then I can move and allocate to other places if I need, than not have enough and try to figure out where I'm going to pull it from. And then fund spending. So I grouped together fast food and coffee, put that at $75. That is one that I'm fairly certain on that we need to start lowering. It's been a little bit higher the past couple months. I mean, we were almost right at that 75, and then I didn't really have budget set up in January as I was starting. So I really want to keep that limit to 75. Restaurants to 175. I am a nerd. I love video games. So I've got a pretty up-to-date system right now. I don't really need to do too much upgrading, but any games that come out, my headset actually this ear will start like making a twitching noise after a little bit, like a ticking. So I might need a new headset soon. But with that, I figured $50 a month, a little less than a game per month, which I don't need to be getting a game per month anyways. So to kind of help budget on that. And then clothing, I'm very minimal in clothing. I don't like buying a lot of stuff for myself. So I put it at $30 a month. I figured that's honestly probably way too much. I don't think I've bought anything yet this year for clothing. I don't buy a lot for myself with clothing. I kind of like to wear what I have. And then other entertainment. So that's more, I don't really have a budget for that one. I was thinking about putting in some sort of goal, but I don't really have anything yet, just because I don't know how granular to make all the fun spending. Like, so earlier this year we went to a basketball NBA game, which cost us a few $100s, and we do that not very regularly, but we try to go to at least basketball game a year, football game a year, a couple baseball games a year since they're a little bit cheaper, just to go out and do something. We live about an hour away from the city, so being able to do that isn't too bad. So I don't really know. I guess I could go back from previous years, look at ticket costs, and try to put in some sort of goal with it. But for right now, I kind of just have that one set to the side. That's something I don't really mind pulling from somewhere of one of these to fulfill that if we do end up going to another one here soon. So giving, I've got just a few categories. My assisting family, I just kind of put that one in there. So I'll give you the scenario that I had. It was last month. My dad's not too well versed. He doesn't have Amazon. He just got a smartphone like last year, so he's pretty old school. Doesn't really get all of the technology too well. So he needed some drywall stilts. He's finishing in his basement. I told him it was $100. Which was like the first one that we saw. But after I was looking at it, it didn't look like the most reputable stilts. So I found some on Amazon, got them some prime so we could get our refund if we needed to if they didn't work out. So it ended up being a little bit more. I didn't want to go back and tell him, so he gave me the 100. I put the 139, and then that's kind of how that came to be. So I didn't really know where else to put it. It wasn't really like an unexpected. And in case we have any more scenarios like that, I don't expect him to give me exact change whenever I get him something from Amazon. And we both live here in the same town, so I figured I would just kind of make that category just to at least categorize it. And then we've got our gifts, any birthdays, holidays, special occasions that we might not be thinking of right now. I just put in $20 a month to kind of let that build up. So I think that's a monthly savings building, $20. I think I'll probably up that one later. But again, I'm just trying to get a grasp of all of this. It was a lot to do and get it all set up and rolling. I think I've got it for the most part. But even still, so going back to fund spending, when I was setting all this up, I like to golf. And when I was setting this up in January, I really didn't have golf on my mind with how cold it is outside. So something I need to add in here is golf. I like doing that a lot. I try to go at least a couple times a month. And I did have a few friends who've moved away that I did go golf with, so I don't anticipate going as much as I have in previous years, but at least setting something aside so that Jess and I will go golf together. So something that we like to do in the summertime. But we've got our gifts and then Christmas shopping. So how I kind of come to my numbers, and I like to give an explanation on that too. So I got $800 in there. I usually do about $200 for Jess, and then I've got 6 other immediate family members that about $100 on. I do have a sister who's pregnant, so I imagine, and she's due in July. I imagine more of this will be going to my first niece or nephew. They're doing a surprise, so it's pretty exciting. It'll be the first one in our family, so we're pretty excited. But I have a feeling some of this 800 will be reallocated or added some for the baby that we have this year. And then work or miscellaneous work meals. So I have every couple weeks we'll go out to work. We take out a few associates. Really get to see what's going on in their day-to-day life, what we can do better in terms of our organization to help them out. So we went to Buffalo Wild Wings this week, or a couple weeks ago. I didn't want to, though, put it onto our restaurants, which is where I initially was putting it, but then it just didn't seem fair because initially I was already at 110 out of 175, and it was just throwing off the numbers. So I wanted to put that in its own separate category. So I've got work meals put in the miscellaneous. I don't know how you guys have your miscellaneous set up. And then I've got Uber, Lyft, parking, things that I really don't use, but just in case, more so for some trips that we go on. But I'll get more into that too. I honestly might delete these two since we don't really use them. And if I were to use them, I would put them into, so I'll skip the wedding for right now, like vacation. So in June, the middle of June, myself and the groomsmen, along with a couple others, are going to Vegas. I allocated $2,000 for that, but with that too, that includes The airfare, which I already purchased, that was the 445. That'll include all of the food, entertainment, anything that we decide to do out there, gambling. All of that is going to be encompassed into that 2,000. So that's kind of why I was thinking about getting rid of Uber, Lyft, and parking. Like if we go on vacation, the eating out and all of that we do there, I'm not going to put under restaurants or fast food. I'm just going to put it under that trip. It seems to make the most sense for us. So that's kind of how we were planning on doing it. Let me know if you guys do the same thing with vacations, if you kind of put everything that comes with the vacation under it, or if you kind of break it out line item by line item. I kind of thought about it and have considered both ways. And like I said, I changed this. I'll change my goals and targets on a lot of these almost. It was daily for a while. It's gotten to be at least maybe a couple times a week that I'll change a few of them, but always adding stuff, sometimes deleting stuff. And then two, I guess how you guys handle goals that have already been met. So I've got this officiant, and we've already paid for him. Back last month, back in February, but I had the goal of $200 for it. But now that that's over, I want it to drop off. I guess that I could hide it, but then it kind of just puts it down here at the bottom. I'm not the biggest fan. I just don't like how that looks. It's something about me. But I wish there was a way to make it just like fall off or like delete it without removing it from the budget, like from the history of it, but just make it not show or somehow hide my hidden so that it's invisible. That'd be something that I thought would be kind of cool in a toolkit, is have like a little button up here that would hide the hidden just so that you don't see it, and you could always hit that to make it reappear. But we've got our liquor, and this was the whole area that kind of started our journey on YNAB and our goals in general. So I guess there was some miscommunication or misinterpretation on my end on what was being paid for and by who, and the one that was kind of not expecting was the liquor. So as you can see, it's almost $4,800, and we'll need it by August 1st here. So that one was definitely eye-opening. We're looking to have about 150, 175 people. Our venue, we need a minimum of 150. And even if we don't have 150, we still have to pay for 150. So I think we've got over that, but I think it'll be pretty close to that. We don't want too much though, too much more. But it is about almost 4,800. And then the suit, we're gonna rent our suits. It's like, I don't think it's 325. I want to say it's like 250, 275. But again, I like to go a little bit over just in case prices changes with inflation and everything that's been going on here recently. I'd rather just plan for more, and then once we get to that moment, have that access to allocate to different areas, than not have enough and try to scrounge it from somewhere else. So the rings, I already bought Jess's ring back in August of last year. So we actually just went wedding band shopping today. So we got her the bands to be attached to the ring once we do get married. We were looking for my ring. However, with some of the allergies I've been having, we didn't pull the trigger just yet, because we found some that we like. Want to then get the testing. I'm getting some patches on my back here in a couple weeks, and with that we're going to do some testing for metals just to make sure that before we go out and buy a couple $100 ring that I can wear it. So that's kind of what we're waiting for. I didn't really have a goal. I didn't know how much, and it's all coming so fast that just to put all the money into it, I didn't really give myself enough time to plan for it. So we've put ourselves behind the eight ball on a few things here. Again, that's more my fault and poor planning, but all the more attribute to YNAB and everything that it's been able to do to help us kind of visually see where everything's going. So like I said, I've got my bachelor party here in June, and then the honeymoon. So we were looking, I put in 8,000. We were looking at initially going to Hawaii for the week afterwards, but Hawaii's got some pretty odd restrictions. I think some of it has lifted over the last couple of weeks from when we were last looking, but regardless, the prices for Hawaii, it was crazy, and nothing was all inclusive, which is kind of what we're looking for. We want a resort where it's all inclusive, but then we can do any of number of excursions around that area and kind of pay for them through that. But with Hawaii, it seems like everything's a la carte, and you get your hotel room, but then everything else, meals and all that, wasn't included, and it was already several thousand more than some of the other countries that we're looking at now. So I think we're dialing it back a little bit. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near this number, but like I said, I'd rather have it and then take it away later than not have enough and be like, oh crap, what are we going to do? So, because the one thing I am scared of is debt. It freaks me out. So like, we've got our cars paid off, we've got our credit cards paid off. Debt scares the crap out of me and is something that I think this is YNAB's even helped with even more. Is sometimes when you just swipe your card, you do it and you forget about it, or on Amazon you just do the buy now and forget about it. But on here, it treats it like a debit card, which I think is awesome. So being able to dial this one back, I think will help out tremendously. And then just some investments and income holdings. So I've got a Robinhood account. I'll throw some money in it from time to time, but right now I threw some in February and in January and February with prices that were tanking. I'm big into Ethereum, investing in Ethereum. I think it's gonna return on investment is going to be incredible, I think. So I've been putting money into that, and then I just started a Roth IRA account. So I've dialed back the Robinhood, and I really want to max the Roth IRA. I feel like that's a more with my Robinhood, what I've been investing in are growth stocks and Ethereum, some other not altcoins, but just some other smaller coins on there, and high risk, high reward. So with that, I'm kind of setting that to the side for now, and really want to focus on our retirement, 401k contributions, and doing more of Vanguard ETFs, small cap, large cap, mid cap. So with the Roth IRA, I'm keeping it pretty bare bones. I'm trying to max it out here and do the 6,000 per month, and with that, I'm just investing into VOO and VB. So there are a couple ETFs, low percentage cost to be in them, less than that 1%, which I'm always trying to be under when it comes to expenses for your investments, that, at least for me. So it seems pretty good. They've got returns usually 10 to 11%. So with that too, I feel like that's a pretty solid return, and fairly safe. I know, and we're in a down, pretty much feels like a bear market right now. So I feel like that's where I definitely want to be putting my money. And then my other goal, so I just want to build up our emergency fund. I set it at 30,000 when I first started in January, which was crazy. Like I said, I was just throwing numbers out there. I had no idea. I since moved it down to 20,000. And then even today, I just changed it to 17 and a half. With everything else that we've got, I don't want to stress ourselves out trying to make sure that we're hitting all these. I mean, you can see our total monthly goals over here is $6,800, which is that's way too high. I know a lot of these, like I said, I put them higher intentionally just to see more how we spend and then dial it back from there. But it's way too high. 74 that's insane. And then the 6,800 for our lifestyle, it's too much. I know based off these, it's pretty close to what we're expecting, but like I said, these numbers are higher. I expect they're gonna go down. Over the averages is not gonna be that. So it's gonna go down, but then with that too, some of our goals that we're looking for. So once these start to fall off, once we get married, we go on our vacation, all of these items right here are going to fall off, which is 1857 for the goals. I know some of it isn't accounting correctly because the goal is less, but once all of this falls off, what we plan on doing with most of this money is starting another account for planning to have a child. We are hoping to have a kid sometime in 2023. So once all of this starts to fall off, the money that we've been allocating to it, I'm going to start a new goal with child, and start putting money towards that just to make sure we're good. I've seen a couple of my friends who have had children, and some of the medical expenses, if everything doesn't go as planned, is up in $5,000 to $10,000 at least for a couple of them. So we just want to make sure that we're okay in case we do have anything that happens. Which is all the more while I'm putting this in. Ideally, I'd like to have a year's worth of income in our checking, or for our bills and some of our living expenses. I'd like to have a year's worth just in case something crazy happens. You never know. And like I said, it freaks me out, debt, so I'm just trying to save as much and put it into a checking account as possible. So I mean, it's got our days of buffering at 49. I'd ideally like both of these to be over a year eventually, and as we continue this process, watching this number hopefully grow, and watching all of these being able to fill everything. So for March, I'm short 1,800. We should be able to cover that, or we will be able to cover that with our next paycheck, with what Jess pushes over into our bills account to help pay for the bills, which is an extra $900 from her account. So that'll help pay as we get into April here. We get paid next Friday, and then subsequently right again on April 1st. So in terms of being able to make sure that all of these are covered, I think we'll be okay. We've got I'm in the wrong month. So I've got to add $1,700 more into the checking account, and then I think another $100 to the IRA to make sure that that's being maxed out. I have, as you can see, I pulled from this, which is more so why I don't almost like having it like this. I've got myself the goal 17,500 by January 23, but it's almost too loose to where if I'm short in other areas, as you can see, I'm just kind of flowing it out there. The only reason I've been pushing it out to these other ones is because I like to have how many accounts are underfunded or categories underfunded as minimum as possible. So with that, I've been trying to just keep it to these couple right here. So that's kind of why I've been taking out of this one. But we've got it up to 4,700. Like to get it up to 17.5, just to give us that little bit of extra relief going into the long term. So this is kind of where we're at. Our goals, like I said, we want to get up to 5 million by the time we retire, which it seems crazy. It really does, but I think we can do it, and that's what we're here to journey and see how we can do. Like I said, there's been so many videos that have inspired us that we've been watching. I watch YouTube all the time, seeing everybody's budgeting, their different numbers, what they do to budget. I think it's awesome. So that's really what we want to do is spread our positivity, some of the things that we're doing, see if there's any information that we can pick up from you all. If there's anything that you could pick up from us, I think it'll be great. So thank you for tuning in, taking the time to watch this, kind of see how we do. If there's anything that you'd like to see more out of these, just let me know. I can go through, break all of these down. And like I said, we're right at almost the exact same as we were when we started, but there's a lot of downward pressure on the markets right now. I think as we kind of get through that and see the light at the end of the tunnel, as long as it's not the train and it is the exit. I think we'll be okay. So thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time.